All right, we're going to get started here. It is just about 7:30. So let me get everything started. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Welcome to week 3, live session 2. Just a little heads up. Yesterday, when we met up last night, there was a little bit of a technical issue in the first hour of the lecture, and I had to pause the recording. We were just getting into the demo for assignment 2 when I had to pause to kind of close out of all my programs because I kept freezing. It ended up being okay, and I came back in to finish up the demo, but I forgot to hit the resume button to record the rest of the session. So the whole next hour wasn't recorded. Unfortunately, we did get some people in there the last bit of the hour, but as far as the demo for assignment 2 was missing. So what I'm going to do, and as I said in the announcement, I'm going to go over that today. It might be a little bit of a condensed version, but I will go over the important details. I kind of did step by step from the very beginning yesterday, but I think most of it is pretty easy to understand. So I'll go over, the basics initially, and then how to put the interactivity into your invoice, so it shouldn't be too bad. So I apologize, those things happen. I didn't realize it until right towards the end of the lecture. I went up to actually end the meeting, and it looked like it was on pause, and I went back and saw that, so we'll fix it. So if you were actually in the lecture yesterday, you did get the step-by-step long version of the demo, so that's a good thing. All right, so yesterday we kind of went over some of the agendas on this slide, and we went over the learning objectives too. I'm going to kind of fast forward here because a lot of this we went over last night. Request for proposal, we talked about what that meant. Went over your discussion 3. Talked about what goes into in the pros and cons of in RFO, RPF, and kind of what goes into that. So RFP. Why am I confusing that? I'm sorry, guys. RFP. It's been a day. We talked about RFP and spec work and the differences between that. And so basically what we're going to be doing today is just going over your assessment 3. So let me share my desktop here. And this is pretty simple. I think, don't overcomplicate it. I think when you read through it might be a little, it could be a little overwhelming, but I think it's pretty simple. And going through the steps, I'll show you how to keep it very simple. All right, so basic accounting is what we're doing for assessment 3. I'll just read through the background and the prompt, and we'll go from there. So it's not much information here. There is a video that you need to watch too, that you can watch for to help knowing how to create a ledger. So tracking the income and outflow of money is a basic but vital part of running a business. Understanding where you stand financially and making decisions based upon that knowledge can be the difference between a business success or failure. So for this assessment, watch this video on accounting ledger using Excel. Use the 3-year budget that you did in week 2 as a guide. Create a hypothetical ledger tracking all income and expenses for 1 month. Use your design skills to format it so it looks professional. Okay. All right, and then what you're going to do is submit your final file on Excel workbook with the following naming convention, and you'll be uploading that. So just a couple of things to keep in mind here in the criteria, if you're wondering kind of how I am evaluating your work. Just make sure you have the correct file format, naming convention as well. Includes a realistic list of typical income and expenses for a designer over 1 month, properly tracked balance. Formatted to be professional, appealing, and easy to read, and then submitted obviously on time. Okay. This is worth 50 points, so let's get started. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to share my Excel. I open up Excel. Oops. It's over here, sorry. Shifting my screens around. Let me just make sure I have my my chat area up here. Hold on 1 second. So if anybody comes in here. There we go, got some people in here. All right. Welcome, Thomas. I actually I kind of started about 6 minutes ago, so we're getting right into the assessment, so you just made it on time. Okay, so I just opened Excel. I read over your assessment 3, so if you'll need to read over that, that's fine. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to go over your week 2 monthly budget that you created, and you're going to create just for 1 month a hypothetical ledger tracking all income and expenses for 1 month, okay? And have fun with this. So what I would do once you have the Excel open, go ahead and just pull out your cells so that you can start with maybe the date in the first cell. Welcome, Brittany. We just got started here with your assessment. I've been kind of talking for 7 minutes, so we went over the assessment details here, and I'm just going over the demo for assessment 3. All right, and then what you're going to do is just type in transaction, and I'm in Excel again. I missed that. And this cell, I'm going to put income, and then this cell expense. And this is going to be pretty simple. I think, you know, don't over complicate this. Keep it simple. So that's kind of what I'm going to start out with. You guys can definitely make it look a lot prettier. You can change the look of it, you know, obviously the color, all that good stuff. If you're kind of into that, I think that would be good. Make it look like your own. Expense. Okay. And then balance, that's the last cell. Sorry, forgot about that. Okay. So we have date, transaction, income, expense, balance. Now what you're going to do is you're going to look at your 3-year budget sheet that you created in week 2. And you're going to take one of the, kind of look at that and then use it as a guide. And you're going to create a hypothetical ledger. So that means you're just going to come up with some hypothetical stuff in the 1 month, say that you're working as a designer. You're going to track all income and expenses for 1 month. So hypothetically, I'm not, you know, obviously I can tell you what to put in here, but I want you guys to have fun with this and do your own thing. So, you know, kind of creatively think about things that relate to the types of jobs that you would be working on. You know, maybe you're working on a logo creation or stationery or, you know, photo manipulation. You know, think about all those little things. So what you can do is start with the date. So if you wanted to date today's date, that's fine. And I would keep it, you know, just simple. Transaction, so we're going to start out by just maybe typing an opening month balance. And this would be kind of the start of what your balance is already. You can make this up. And I'm going to start around let's say just 2,000. Say we have 2,000 in our bank, ready to go. That's the profit you have to spend, you know, if you have any expenses. Of course, you can also have income. So for the second cell, I'm going to put, let's say date, let's do 11/30, a couple days later. Let's just put in something like Christmas card for Smith family. Kind of think of something fun. And then maybe what you would charge for that, $350. Wouldn't that be nice, right? Then our actual balance would be, obviously, right? You just add those two together. Very simple. There you go. All right. So once you start getting money, obviously that's an awesome thing. But you do have things that come out of this to your expenses, realistically. So let's say 12/3/17. You have studio rent. But maybe that's one of the things in your budget that you kind of listed, and your expense would be here. And let's take out maybe $100 for that. That's pretty cheap, right? Just gonna put that in there, but 2,000 would take this down. So you would just minus this out, $250. And that's pretty much what you do. So really kind of pay attention to the things that you have written out in your budget. You might not want to, you know, obviously this is just highlighting 1 month, so you're not going to be doing a whole year. You know, maybe the phone bill is here. Maybe that's $100. And then that takes it down to $2,150. Okay, so then let's say, you know, you got to make some money here. Maybe on the 7th, you decided to take in a job and you did a website project and you billed for that project and you charged $700 for it. Total. Now you have a profit of $2,850. I'm not sure why that didn't go to the right here. There we go. All right, and then let's say on 12/10/17. I'm sorry?
I was trying to get my Excel to work earlier, and it wasn't working for me. Because I was trying to get started on that for week 2. Is there any way that we could try to figure out why it wasn't working or something? I know we were supposed to talk after class anyways. But I've been having problems with my Excel.
Okay, I don't know.
I forgot to tell you that yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, there's IT help for that too. I mean, we could take a look. I'm not sure what's going on and what problems you're having because you're not very specific about it. So,
because what's not making sense, I don't know why Excel is giving me problems when Microsoft Word is working just fine.
Okay. Well, what problems are you talking about?
It's not wanting to load without. It's like giving me problems on loading.
What do you mean loading? Like, can you just open up a new Excel?
Yeah, that's what it's not letting me open up a new one. It's like pulling up like my previous Excel that I worked on before.
Oh, okay. Well, we can take a look at that when we're done here.
Okay.
Yep. I don't know. It's hard to tell because I'm not looking at your computer.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll take a look. We have some time today, so we'll definitely, you know, if you have any questions or whatever. All right, so this last cell, you know, maybe for instance, this could be maybe computer fund, savings, transfer. Maybe you're saving up money and you're putting it for a fund, but obviously it's an expense. So you could, you know, $10 out goes for that. So be creative with this. It doesn't have to be too crazy. Obviously, you know, you want to show your income and your expenses. I would start out with an open month balance, you know, healthy enough so you can go through some of these expenses and be okay. you can go through an entire month, like I just did through November to the 10th, November 28th to the 10th. You might want to go all the way to like December 28th so that you see 11/28 to December, just a whole month. But that's pretty much it. So you're kind of just coming up with these hypothetical numbers to put in here, and just, this is kind of a good way to get practice on, kind of keeping track of your expenses when you do have a business started. So it just kind of gets you in that workflow.
Can I use like January, the whole month of January of next year?
Yeah, I mean, that's whatever you want to do. So just as long as you have like a month.
Since it's the whole month?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then what you're going to do when you're done, you're going to save this as obviously what the naming convention was. So DES355, assessment 3, your last name. Excel's fine, and click save. Now you can make this, design this any way you want. If you wanted, say, to make this a theme color, you kind of make it your own type of a look. There's other things going on here.
April, would we be able to do, like, instead of just making up the numbers, would we be able to, like, research some of the costs that it would be, so that way, like, the numbers aren't like too huge, or like, so it's reasonable, I guess you could say, for our like area?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely try to make it as realistic as possible.
Because that actually makes this stuff a lot easier for me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Could we use, like, for instance, I have an income of $750. Could I use that income and then also apply that to whatever job I have too with this, or no?
So you mean start out with your balance being 750?
Yes.
Yeah, and then what you can do is any type of income, you can add that to it once, that gets in there.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Just as long, you can even show negative if it goes in the negative. It's just all about showing the income and expenses, just knowing that I can see that you're balancing out correctly, and you're actually showing 1 month of different transactions, both income and expense.
So since you said realistic, do you want, could we use like our, our like utility bills, and if we have like car insurance, or is this basically like a business format?
Yeah, this would be just basically based on your business, what you would, and it's hypothetical, so it's not something that you're going to be like a real life, what you're going through now. It's going to be a hypothetical. You can look up, what a general expense and income would be for a freelance studio.
Okay.
I don't know if I didn't quite look for this, but, maybe you could just do a Google search for that if you really want to get into the nitty gritty stuff.
So basically, I could start off with my balance being 750 for the opening month, and then look up what the freelance is, look up, and then add that to my income, and then, like, basically this way, like Brittany was saying, this way it's not, the numbers aren't too
Well, don't
crazy.
forget, you're going to base this off of your week 2 work, right? So you're using the 3-year budget that you did in week 2 as a guide. So, if you did week 2 work, which I don't know if you got to it yet.
No, not yet.
You did come up with some type of an hourly rate that you put in there.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it kind of connects with that in that regards.
Okay.
Yep. It's pretty basic.
So from what I'm hearing, that I understand is that the Excel sheet that we used from last week is basically what we're going to be transferring over for this week.
Yes,
right?
but just realize it's only 1 month, not a whole year.
Okay, so we just take the 1 month of like all the expenses and everything that we did for week 2 and just transfer it over.
Right, but you don't have to do all of it. You can just pick and choose if you want.
Okay.
Let me see if I can open up mine.
I told you, I'm done cleaning.
Yeah, I'm realizing that.
Let me open up my Excel that I did for you guys.
That before I can start on week 3's work, I have to work on week 2.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it kind of all plays a part together.
Exactly.
So yeah, it would be helpful just kind of getting that kind of a lineup there, I guess. Where is I'm trying to look for and I don't know if I saved it. I should have saved it. Let's see, 3-1.
Now, I know this class is 2 hours. So that puts me roughly around 10:30, correct?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it goes to an hour and a half, so it's not,
Okay.
necessarily completely 2 hours. It all depends on kind of where we are at the time.
Okay.
Give or take. So, because some students don't come in, and it's always like dependent upon that and examples and all that good stuff.
Right.
Okay, so here's an example here of one student's work, and I'm not pulling up mine because I can't find mine right away, so sorry about that. I did show this yesterday as the example of what they did in week 2 for assessment 2. So if they're looking at, say, 2020 column, the hourly rate they put here was $80 an hour, billable hours are 50. So they could use their gross earnings total week. And they can also use, let's see here, monthly expenses. This is annual, what they make, total earnings a week. So you could take, 4 weeks of that total, 4,000 times 4 to come up with your, that number that you first start out with for assessment 3. And then you can look at your expenses, and you can either use all of them to take it out. This person decided to do the mortgage, Amazon household supplies, cell phone, internet.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to as more as like realistic.
The only thing it doesn't have in here is obviously jobs that they get for income, as far as like specific individual income that they're getting. So that's something that you will need to do for this, obviously. So it's just showing expenses, whereas here you're going to be showing not only expenses, but also income. So you're going to kind of come up with some projects within that month that you worked on related to what you're doing.
Okay.
So that you're not all negative in the whole.
Right. Could we, like, for instance, I think I was the one that I had to work on the book cover with you, I think a couple of mods ago.
Mm-hmm.
It is you, wasn't it?
Yep.
Okay. Could I, use that book cover and, like put in their book cover and how much I got paid for it or whatever, and use, my prior work, somebody, saw my work off of Behance, and then they wanted me to create them a book cover or something, and I can use some of my projects or menu project.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about showing it, but you can definitely
No,
book cover
I
design.
kind of knew about not showing it, but that's what I was referring to, was
yeah, you can relate it to your portfolio work. Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that's actually a good idea, because then that way you're not sitting there going, well, what can I think of? Look at
and then this way, as expensive as creating the business card letterhead, that would actually be an expense too. So.
I mean, if it's your promotional stuff, that's taking out of your wallet. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Good points for sure. Yep. I mean, it's pretty easy. I think it's just showing. I'm just kind of looking at this to see if you're doing a whole month and you're showing both income and expense and you're balancing it correctly and everything looks very clear, and is the transactions are, they make sense to your business. So that's kind of what I will be evaluating your work on.
I do have one concern though. You were saying for week 2, I do believe, that we were supposed to do the 3-year, but some of us ended up doing the 3-month one because there was a little bit of confusion there. Mm-hmm. So, for mine, I think I did the 3-month one or something like that. Would I use the totals from that one for this?
Yeah, it's the same thing. You're just going to kind of take it from, I mean, it's going to be the same thing. You're just going to be taking 1 month out of the 1 year that you're projecting this from.
Okay, so
You're
I
not
can just
gonna
pick.
go a whole year.
Okay, so I can just pick one of those months to do it.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. That actually, that clarifies it. Okay. There should be no problem then.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, sometimes I think some people can overthink it. But like here, let me show you something real quick here. Let me go back to that example because this is kind of confusing. Could be. So this is showing this is a whole year, this whole column each year. So what you can do, obviously you're not going to do $600 in your mortgage for 1 month, right? Obviously this is a good mortgage to pay for a whole year. But if you're breaking this down in a month, I would definitely divide whatever you have up in your expenses in your one column. Make sure it makes sense for 1 month and not 1 year. Does that make sense? So $600 for a mortgage, actually, that's not bad. So, I could see a mortgage being at least $1,400 a month, and if you times that by 12 is really what that should be. But obviously, this person decided to do really, really cheap rent, so that would be, let's see here, or mortgage, sorry, not rent. So that would be, let's see, $50 a month for a mortgage. So realistically, it's probably not too realistic. I just wanted to point out that whatever you have in these columns are a total for a whole year, okay?
Okay, so you're saying that if we did the thing if our thing shows the months, we would multiply that by 4?
What I would do is just, obviously it's 1 month, so I would just use the whole total.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying that if you did your project on the years, like, some did, then they would have to divide.
Right. They would just have to figure out what that expense would be.
Okay.
Just monthly.
Okay. I think I understand it now. Thank you.
Yeah, I know it's a little difficult, but hopefully I explained that clearly enough. And it kind of, you just kind of make it so that it makes sense for what you're doing here. Obviously you're not going to be charging $50,000 for, a logo when you're a starting company. I mean, I guess you could if you're really, really well known, but realistically, let's talk about, your starting company, you want to kind of use realistic numbers. So if you're kind of wondering about that, think about your hourly rate. We talked about this in week 2, how to figure that out. When you're starting designer, typically you're around $35, $60 an hour. So let's say it takes you, so many hours to do a logo. That's how you come up with the total for your expense for a logo design, for example. If you're a more experienced designer, $60 to $100 an hour could be where you're at. And it really depends on where you live and all that other stuff. So it's not just, basing it off of experience either. There's a lot of other components to that. Any other questions about that? You guys seem like you're good to go, right? Okay. And Thomas, we'll get to your issue here in a second. I just want to make sure we go over. I started the lecture, you guys were in right away, so I'm just going to repeat what I said in the beginning. Yesterday when we did the lecture, and both of you were in there, I started the demo for assignment 2.
Yeah, I got the notification saying that when you were going over the assignment, apparently you had some technical issues and it didn't show up.
Yeah, when I started that demo, remember how I was having issues because it was freezing?
Yep.
I pushed pause and I never unpaused it, so it didn't record.
That's why.
And so I was done with the lecture, and then I realized, wait, I didn't unpause.
Yeah, because Yeah, I was looking at the lecture and then I was like, wait, I'm not seeing like her actual work that she ended up going through with us. So, it was like you were talking to somebody, I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
okay, where's the work that she was doing?
Yeah, and then when I stopped the recording, I'm like, did I really just do that? And then I scrolled back and I'm like, oh yeah, I did. So it kind of had a little heart attack, but then I'm like, you know what? We might have time anyway, so it's good. We'll just reiterate some things. So and you guys were in there, so that's good. So I'll just reiterate the things that I told you guys yesterday. I'll just kind of do it like a condensed cooking show where they actually have the product done, all of a sudden. And we'll just go over the important parts. But basically what you guys are going to be doing is creating an invoice. And I had started that out by opening up a brand new, and I'll show you here. And I am recording, so that's good. A brand new InDesign document. So you guys are going to be creating this in InDesign. And what I did was just create it from scratch. Okay, so what I did was I went in, and this is kind of where I'm going to do the condensed cooking show. I went in and just created it, every single thing that I thought was stationary in there. So I put my image above here, making it very cohesive with my design. I pulled my logo in from my postcard, and then I just use a header. And yours can look differently. I showed examples. If you Google image search for graphic designer invoices, you can see really great examples to be inspired by. Then I just did text boxes for the invoice up here for the header, created a new text box for this information, which, you should have this on the very top. And this is your address, kind of like a letterhead. Here we go again. So this is what I was doing yesterday. So the top part should be your address. You can make this up, your web address, whatever you used for your postcard too, you can place in there. So just have it clear. It doesn't have to be very big. Mine's like, what point size is this? Probably like 10 point. And then I just put a nice little divider line. It's up to you and how you want to design this. And again, just keep it cohesive with your theme.
I do have a question. For mine, I was thinking about doing like that kind of like sparkle background, like all my other stuff does, but I'm not really sure if it would make it to be too distracting about, from everything else I'm going to be putting on there.
What I would do, like say if you wanted to do that for your whole background, yeah, I would probably avoid doing like something like where it's going to be like this.
Because, right now,
Look how bad that looks. So what I would do is if you're going to do something, go ahead and take like a box, a white box, and just put it behind it so that everything's readable. Because really, like if you can't read what's in there, it's kind of missing the point of everything.
Actually, can I show you so I can get your opinion on it?
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'm going to go through this and then we'll take a look at your stuff.
Okay.
1 second here. But you know what I mean? Like you can bring all this to the front and then just put this to the back. So you can keep that detail, but you're stepping it back. Here, let me see. Send backwards is command and indent. Do a shortcut key here so you guys can see. But you can see all the stuff's obviously readable. Oops, that last step. And then I would pull this out just slightly on each side. But yeah, I would do something like this. I wouldn't put it, unless you really use like a very light opacity, but really, you don't want to be able to not see this information. So you do something like that. And you can show me whenever we share the stuff on screen share. Okay, so basically for those of you who missed this, I went ahead and did an invoice with just the regular type tool. I just put invoice 2. Actually, I probably should. Oh yeah, this is the cells that I put in. And then I used the tab, and you can use another type box if you want. And you don't even have to have this invoice and date over here. You can have it over here. It's completely up to you on how you want to design this. But an invoice number would be good to have plugged in, and also a date. And then how I made these little squares before they're interactive now was I just went over here and just drew out a rectangle. So I grabbed the shape of a rectangle and just pulled it out. And then I just did an alt drag. So I had all of these to copy. Same thing here. These are just rectangles that I created. Now I'm just going to leave this here so I can show you how I made that interactive. I made rectangles down here, just regular rectangles. You're seeing this little type tool here just because it is interactive already. So I'll show you really quickly how to do that. It's very, very simple. Actually, these are interactive too. So then I went in and did the bottom part, which you need to have some type of job description. So what you did for the job, logo creation, website design, stuff like that. I just put 2 cells in here. Quantity of what you did, so maybe it was just 1 website design, just put 1. If it was like 10 logos, put 10. And then the total, how much that would be without having all the sales tax and everything else added to it. So I would put definitely at least a minimum of 2 job description items, quantities, and totals, just so that we can kind of see a nice synopsis of everything kind of being applied. Subtotal, and obviously I'm not plugging this in now because we're making these cells interactive so we can plug it in as a form. Whenever we get a job, we can plug this stuff in, which is really nice in the PDF. Subtotal will go here, so I just drew out, again, rectangles for each one of these, and that's pretty much it, other than having a little thank you, directions on checks payable to, our design firm, payment instructions, and if they have any questions, and a little thank you. Any questions so far? So I'm just kind of condensing this a little bit for those of you. I know you guys have been in here. So now how to make this interactive, just make sure, and I said this yesterday, that your navigation is set to, and it's way up here. I don't know if you guys can see it. Here, let me stop sharing. Let me share my desktop so you guys can see everything on my screen. And now I can't see because this little thing's in the way. Hold on one second. So, there we go. I have all my examples out here. There we go. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to select on the upper right-hand corner, just make sure you choose Interactive for PDF. This will give you the panels that you need. Buttons and forms is basically the panel box that you'll be using. There's also a library over here of pre-made buttons, arrows that you can also take advantage of if you think that's needed. But buttons and forms is basically the most used panel that you'll have for this assignment. So then what you're going to do, and I already did it to these, so I'm going to do it to this box just to show you. You're going to go to where it says type, and you can choose whatever type that you want. In here, we're going to do text field because we want to be able to put type in there. So we're going to choose text field, and then the name of the text field will go in here. So you'll just name it what goes in there. So this, for instance, would be called name, because that's where you put your name. And then this is just how you would interact with that cell. So on release or tap, on click, roll over, on roll off. I'm just going to keep on release or tap. You can add an action to this, but we really don't need to because it's not a button. It's really just a cell that we're going to type into. So I'm going to leave that blank. You can give it a description. I'm not really going to do that. I'm just going to leave that blank. You can make it printable. I'm going to leave that checked. And then I'm going to choose that it's required so that people who are, if they leave it blank, there's going to be a little warning sign that pops up saying, this is required. You can make it password protected, read only, scrollable. And then here is where you can customize it to whatever typeface that you want it to be. Maybe it's the typeface that you've been using with your, and what I kind of learned here is instead of typing it in, you'll need to kind of use this little drop-down menu. This is kind of what I've learned, or else it won't save it. So it's kind of a little tricky on that part. But scroll down, choose the typeface, choose the point size and the family, and then you're good. And then you'll know it's interactive because you'll see kind of dots or dashes kind of around it. These here are the same thing that I just did it to, although they're a little bigger, so you can see a little type area here. You can see my text field's already filled out, everything's set, so I already did that. So you're gonna do that for each and every one of these to be able to fill this in. Any questions about that? I'm gonna delete this one here. That's kind of like the condensed version of it. When we met yesterday, I went over just the whole design of it, which I think you guys pretty much understand anyway. Designing it in InDesign and then leaving the spots open for what you want to plug in. Okay, save it as the theme that you wanted to. And the next step that you need to do is just do a file export, and you're going to save this very important step here. Make sure the format is the interactive PDF format. You're going to save this to whatever desktop or folder that you have. Just make sure that you include all forms and media, and then hit export. Test out your PDF when it's done. Mine's opening after it's done, and you'll see it kind of gives you these bright red boxes here that you can click into and just test it out. And what I would say is type in all this information so that I can see that these forms are filled out and workable.
Okay, so from what I'm understanding is that you want us to make the PDF interactive, and then you want us to fill in the information after we're done with that?
Yes, so fill it out. So open it up as the interactive PDF and then fill it out as you would if you were, because look what happened here. Right here is I'm noticing that this is not the same typeface as those, so I'll need to go back and change that. So not only is this checking if the cells work, but if they're actually the right typeface.
Okay, so you just want to make sure that it's the right thing that we set it to.
Right, and plus when I open it up, I'll be able to easily see that, oh yeah, this is working, everything looks good.
Okay.
So you can do like this, like 10 logos, total, something like that. I can see my cells not working here, so what I would do is go back and change it. So it's kind of like you're testing it out, you're doing a test run too, because right now, my boxes aren't working. I need to go back and actually figure out why that box isn't showing up, why the other one, the type isn't correct. Oops. So just go back to your interactive, your InDesign layout. Sorry, I'm like confusing that. The last box is where I had that type issue, and in my buttons and forms, I can see where that's happening. I can go up and change that to what it needs to be. And like I said, this is the issue that I noticed is if you type in your typeface, for some reason it's not keeping it. But if you scroll it and then you choose whatever the option is, it keeps it. Now this one, I'm not sure why this isn't working. So let me check this here. Okay, for some reason this is description 1. This one should work. Oh, this is because I have hidden until triggered, so I'm going to uncheck that. So that's why that's happening. So I'm going to do file save, file export, and just see if that actually worked this time. I think I was trying stuff the last time, and that's kind of why that got all screwed up. Okay, so with that being said, let me open up that PDF. The new one. There we go. Sometimes you have to close out and come back in for it to actually show the changes here. And this looks like, yep, looks like the spelling's right, or the font is right. And then this box is showing. So it works. So 310 Logo creation. Development. I'm just kind of making up. And then you would just do your subtotal, just kind of how I showed you. You don't have to apply a discount if you don't want to. Whatever the sales tax is, you can put that in. I think the original one was like 10%, and then you can figure that out if you want to. Invoice number, obviously, you put, you know, whatever you want to start out with. The date, all that fun stuff. Invoice 2, you can just put in a name. And then their address. City. And phone number. This would be like, I don't know, if it's 10%, we got 150, 2,500, $250 would be added to that. So, you know, you could do 10%, it's up to you. Oh, no. I can actually put that in there. Put the $sign in there, discount 0, and then obviously this would be the grand total. Okay, and then you'll just save this, and that's
Now, can you do a discount?
Yeah, if you want.
If we're going to do a discount, roughly, what do you think would be reasonable?
I'd say like 5 or 10%.
Okay.
Yep. Then you would just subtract that off of these. The subtotal with sales tax before you created the grand total. Pretty simple. So this is the PDF that you would send me, and I'll open it up, and I should be able to see and click in here and see everything kind of filled out. Does that make sense? Any questions about that?
No, ma'am.
Nope, I think I'm good to go.
All right. So I guess at this point, I'm just going to give it open mic to you guys. And you guys have some questions, so I will just say, hey, this is your time.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty good. I started designing my invoice, and I haven't actually gotten very far in it yet. You know, I was going to go over the lecture from yesterday, but then I realized that you had the technical problems, so I couldn't do that. I had to wait. So
Sorry about that. Yeah, it's a little late. I apologize for the lateness of our Wednesday lecture.
it happens, you know, different classes. You know, I had one that wasn't until I think 10:30 once.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I try to
I'm
make
used to it.
reasonable, but like they don't like us doing like Thursday. That's a little bit too late for lecture. Plus, you guys have student like meetings and stuff like that if you're in clubs, so they don't like us doing any lectures on Thursday. So I'm kind of cramming.
Can I show you the background I'm hopefully going to try to work with for my invoice?
Yep.
Yeah, this hopefully, I mean, I think it looks pretty good, but would I have to do like the white, like you said, or?
That doesn't look too bad. Do you have a transparent right now at all?
No, this is exactly how it is.
Okay. I think it's fine. And then what I would do is maybe add boxes to when you get down to the description and quantity, you might want to add colored boxes that maybe correspond with your colors here.
Yeah, because I was thinking about doing like what I did for like the color thing for my, what do you call it?
Your postcard.
I can't think of the word. No, my mood board. That's what I was trying to figure out. Yeah, I got 3 colors there, and I was thinking about like integrating those colors in with this.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it looks good together and it works well with your theme, that's fine.
Yeah, because I was thinking I could, these are the two colors I used. There's these two, and then I think there's like a yellow color, which I think would actually, good,
From there
go
too.
good because the yellow is like in the background here. So,
Yeah, I think that would be great.
okay.
It's good.
Yeah, like I said, I just started. I can't get stuck. So, had to do the
Yeah, I
video.
think that's not too bad of a background, but like I said, you might want to kind of set off the invoice description, quantity, and all that with a background of a box color, like you were just talking about.
Yeah, I was actually already planning on doing that. I just wanted to be sure that, this wasn't like, too over the top.
Yeah, I think that looks good. Yeah. I
Okay.
think it depends on the contrast and obviously the what's in the actual image, but I think that would be good.
Yeah, I'm not
Okay.
taking any chances.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Thomas, do you want to open up and share your screen if you want to show your Excel? Maybe we can check out what's going on here. I don't know if I can help you, but I can try.
Sure. I think I did right before I came into class. I did kind of reboot, so maybe, yeah.
Maybe that's all you needed. We'll see.
This is probably one reason why okay.
So I would just go file new or blank workbook, whatever you.
See? Okay. Well, before it wasn't even doing that, so.
There you go. Maybe you just needed a restart.
Yeah. Now, you said we're doing, once I watched that lecture, you said we're doing from a year, right? So.
No, you're only showing a month.
Okay, but I'm talking about for week 2.
Yeah, you're going to do, for week 2, you're going to show a yearly budget for each year.
Okay. So
see where the letter A is in between A and B? You can pull that in between. If you put your cursor in between those two in that line, click off of there. Click off so you're not selecting those. There you go. And go up in between A and B cell. No, up actually in between the A and the B with your cursor. Yeah, see how, okay, then drag, click and drag. So you can extend them if you want, make them smaller, let go. So that first cell I would put in kind of what I was explaining in the lecture. I believe it was the first cell. What was the first cell that I had in there? I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Whatever I had in there for the first cell, I think it was, let me see here. Hold on, I'm gonna grab my screen back. Oh, date, transaction, income, expense, and balance.
okay, so it's transaction.
Okay, go ahead. You can share. Yeah, date, transaction. You can kind of do a screenshot of what I did, just so you can.
Yeah. Okay.
Copy at least the top part, and then what you're going to do is just kind of extend those cells out so that you'll have enough room for each one of those. But it looks good. I think it looks like your Excel's working now.
Right. Okay. You said that there was 12 of these, right?
No, you just have to come up with a month of expenses and.
Well, I'm talking about for the yearly, which would be A, B, and C, right?
No, this is what you're. Let me share my.
For week 2, I'm talking about week 2.
Oh.
I know about week. I know about week 3, which is going to go up to E, because of how you're doing it. But I'm talking about as far as.
Yeah, and I showed that. Just go back and listen to that lecture because I showed step by step on how to do that.
Okay, that's fine. And then
I showed examples too, so you can see.
Yeah, and then basically Because if it's if it's the yearly, then can I use the same, and then it's going to be yearly, which would be A, B, and C, and then E and D for week 3. So, okay, because I got that set up. So, okay, now this is the other part.
Okay,
Yeah.
hold on 1 second. 1 second. Do I have any other student examples for that?
For week 2?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Because like I said, I know you're giving me until tomorrow to get week's 2 work done. I've been having a design problem with week 2.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay, I see what it is. Month 1. So is it a year or is it 3 months?
Okay, so this is kind of where, let me show you. This is where the confusion was, because when I did the demo, I said month to month, like show 3 months, but in the actual instructions, it said a year. So this is actually correct. We're showing a year in each column.
Okay. So as long as I know, because I did read the instructions and I was double checking that it was 3 months, because like I said, I heard that, like I said, I did catch a little bit of that lecture, just not the whole length, if you will.
Okay.
So that's what, yeah. So I know, and I know the instruction says a year, and then today you said 3 months. So I was just wanting to make sure.
Yeah, for those of you who did the month to month, like I had said, I didn't take points off. I just said, just be aware of that.
Okay.
That was my oops, and I'm not taking points off for it. But just kind of be aware of that when you are working on this project, because you want to make sure makes sense for the month to month
Okay.
balance.
Okay, that's fine.
Yep.
Now, for somebody for business or can help us with this, right? If we need help with it.
Yeah, if you have
the
somebody
assessment.
who knows Excel and they want to show you the tricks of the trade, that's awesome. And if you already know Excel, that's even, this will be super easy.
Yeah, but is this the assessment or is this the assessment?
So the assessments are the Excel project.
Okay, then yeah, I'm going to have to figure those out on my own, because Student Success Center doesn't like to help out as much when it comes to the assessments. So,
okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Now they don't have a problem with the instructors helping out with the assessments as much, but yeah, I guess some learning coaches don't like to help out as much as the assessments. So
yeah. Okay.
Now I haven't even gotten started on weeks 3 yet, because I've been on weeks 2. This is what I like I said, I got started on this. I have created my logo, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm taking some elements. Now, Christy told me that that it would be best to design my own elements, because of what I posted in my mood board wasn't my own creation. And what I'm trying to do is take and manipulate those photos, because I just threw it all together.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was week 1, right? Yeah. And then because of us not having help with the holidays, I kind of got thrown off quite a bit. So, okay. So this is supposed to be, okay. Yeah. This is the front and the back of the business card. Now, the element that I think that I have finally got what I wanted, I think is on my desktop, hopefully. No, that is not it. That's what I'm open. Ooh, I think this is it. Okay. I'm hoping. Yep, that's it right there. Okay, that. Are you serious? It's not going to let me just post it in here. This is one thing I was having problems with. Like, I have to, like, I can't post it on the board. I gotta literally post it over here before it lets me do anything, which I don't.
Well, yeah, you're not. That's not the proper way to place it in there. You just draw out a rectangle frame tool and then do a file place. And then another thing is this a logo?
Yes.
Okay, you don't really want to do logos in Photoshop because you're getting that pixelation, and I can see that right away.
Well, that was the only way I was able to construct it more than using the original photo as the, because I was trying to do it in Illustrator, but I kept getting I did it in Illustrator, but I didn't like how it came out from Illustrator because of the fact I was trying to eliminate the issue, and I'm hoping I can find.
The number one rule is never to design a logo in Photoshop.
Well, it wasn't actually designed in Photoshop. I actually, believe it or not, this is the one that's not in Photoshop.
It shouldn't be in Photoshop just because you're seeing the issue right away. Like it's pixelated. Yeah. You're having, if you show a logo like that as like a promotional piece, it's going to be looked at as kind of like an amateur did it, because we all know as designers that you shouldn't design a logo in Photoshop because you have that pixelation.
Right. Well, it wasn't, I'm letting you know, it was not done in the tools that I used was
even if you created it originally in Illustrator and then took it into Photoshop, that's the step that you shouldn't go. Don't place it into Photoshop before placing it in InDesign.
Okay.
You shouldn't even touch Photoshop. It should just go from Illustrator, saving it out as a high-res TIFF.
Okay, because I do have that high res because there's the Illustrator file that I created it in. That is the.
It's still looking pixelated. What's your settings for your view? Do you have high res on your view settings?
For this or Illustrator?
Did you open that up in Illustrator? I just want to take a look at it. Did you actually do that in Illustrator or place it in Illustrator?
No, I was trying to do all this in InDesign originally, but I know I got the original in here, because there's the white background to it, and I think a lot of it might be is the way I saved it. It's the I could have done that. I could have done that in Illustrator too, made it transparent too, to get rid of that background, because that's what I was trying to do, was make it transparent where it didn't have a bulky white background to it.
Save it out as a ping in Illustrator.
Okay.
If you don't want a square behind it.
Okay. Well, I can show. This is what I wanted to talk to you about, because the other thing is too is the thing in Photoshop is I'm trying to use the magnetic lasso tool to trace out certain things. Now, there is the original file for it, and as you can tell that I have been working on this for some time. But like I said, I didn't want to just use the eyes and the unicorn and just use that as a logo. So I wanted to I remember in the lecture you said kind of have fun with it, tried to get creative, and I was like, you know what? I have these elements. and I'm going to try to do this with it.
Okay.
And that's what I was trying to do now, that's why.
It says it's generating pixels, so you must have imported that in from Photoshop. Some part.
I couldn't have, because I literally made this in InDesign. Like, I can show you how I made this too.
Okay, so why aren't we opening this up in InDesign first?
We are.
This is Illustrator. You said you designed it in InDesign.
I tried to design it in InDesign.
That's a pixel-based image that you have there.
That is?
Yep.
Okay, so I can show you what I was trying to do in InDesign and the problems I was having with it, because if I tried to do this any other way, I'm not sure if I can do it, which might throw me completely off, which is...
Can you open the original InDesign that you created that in?
That's just it. I got help from Christy, and Christy told me to do it in Illustrator.
Right. So you need to kind of redo it in Illustrator.
Well, so do you want me to do it in Illustrator or InDesign?
You usually do logos in Illustrator.
Okay, because I can show you how I made it in InDesign with no problem. I will literally do a 4x4, and I will show you what I did. Okay. Literally, I have everything that I need. File.
So if you created this in InDesign, you shouldn't be placing anything in there.
Because like I said, the stuff that
right there, that's probably your first wrong move. You're placing in a PSD element in there. So what you need to do is take that piece, put it in Illustrator, and recreate it using the pen tool. If you're using this, I don't even know where you got this. This could be a copyrighted image. You're taking this from somebody else's.
Actually, that's what Christy was saying, and I can show you what I did. Okay, and this is literally, let me just go ahead and go to image. And this is literally what I want. And then I literally just went down here and done that search, and there it is. And that's the original.
So that's going to be a raster-based image. So you need to take the pen tool in Illustrator and retrace that if you want it to work. Or else it's not going to work for a logo.
So what
practice, because you should be pretty, you should be experienced using the pen tool anyway in Illustrator. So
not really.
Well, I mean, you should be. So this will give you good practice.
Yeah, not really. I haven't. It all depends, because I try to avoid the pen tool. So basically what you're telling me is
The thing is, you can't be avoiding stuff. You need to be practicing. You know what I mean? As a student, you need to be practicing these skills, because when you're out in the working world, they're going to say, can you trace this out, or can you do a logo? And if you're like, I don't really, I avoid the pen tool, what is that going to say? You can't avoid things that are going to be part of your job someday. You know what I mean?
Right. So how am I going to get like that, like the flowers in there, if I'm just... Yes.
So I would do each element separately. You don't have to do them all together. And that's just something that you have to be practicing on, you know, doing, just practicing with this tool. For I know you were in the other class of mine, and we were practicing with the pen tool in Photoshop.
Yeah.
Selecting parts of the image. So it's just, you know, part of it, you know.
Are you saying that I should?
There is another trick that you can do. Delete all that. I can show you real quick. If you want to live image trace that and see what happens. So delete that.
I was trying to earlier. I used the.
Okay, so take the selection tool and I'll show you real quick.
The selection tool.
Yeah, and then go up to image, or let's see here. I can't see up there. Is there an image or?
Hold on.
Live?
I did share my desktop, didn't I?
Yep.
Okay, so let me just see.
But my screen view thing is in the way. I can't see you.
Oh.
The whole top. There you go. Okay, click in your document again. There you go.
Okay.
Oh, you're missing your top. I can't see the top part of that.
Hold on. Maybe I can. There we go.
You're in InDesign now, so click on Illustrator.
There we go.
You're still missing. See the house on the upper left-hand corner? There's like a little grid area to the right of that.
Yeah.
Go to the right of that.
Okay. InDesign. Just cancel. I'm exiting out of InDesign. Save. Okay. Okay. Yeah, there's the
Okay,
house.
so see where the little house is?
Yeah.
Click on that little square next to it.
Okay.
Oh, this is arrange documents. For some reason, your presets aren't showing up there. Why aren't your presets not showing up there anymore? Oh, I see up here. Okay, I'm sorry. Go up to object.
Oops, hold up. Okay. Object.
I think it's either that, or it's under select. Try select. Your image trace. I can't remember where it's at. Go to select. Go back up to where it says object, and then slide over to. Go back up to your menu bar. Way up there. Go over to select. Go up to edit instead. Maybe it's under edit. I'm looking for image trace. Go under edit. It might be under edit. Nope. Go up to edit on the menu bar.
Edit. Okay.
I've been on the HEB. Got kids sugar and stuff. I couldn't do it after church because it was already so late. Please, whatever you do, do not lock the screen door.
Okay.
Okay. Go up to where it says help on the very right of the menu bar and type in live trace because I can't remember where it's at. Live trace.
You sure?
Yeah, and that's another thing too, is it's new software too.
And then type trace.
Yeah.
TRACE.
Yeah. It's not even
Oh,
showing.
you know what? It's image trace. That's why I'm sorry. Image trace.
There it is.
Okay. Yeah. So it's under your object image trace. Okay. So go to object image trace. That's why I was looking for live. Make. And then actually go up to your window now in your menu bar and click, is there image trace in there? I'm surprised there isn't. There should be like a little like preset bar that it appears above that you can set your, oh, right there, toolbars. Select toolbars. I don't know why it's not showing up there. But we need to show it. So go to manage toolbars. Why are we not seeing anything up there? Cancel that. On the right, cancel that. On the right side of your panel, see the right side there? There should be a image trace panel. So kind of, there we go, right there. Okay, see where it says mode? Click on that. This is mode black and white. And we're gonna do color. And then tracing result. Go to tracing result. And go to preset instead, sorry. It says custom. And do 6 colors, or 3 colors, whichever one you, there you go. Okay, now the key is you want to hit expand. We want to expand this. So go to, see where it says advanced? Click on that little arrow to drop that down. Okay, everything looks good. Okay, now we just need to expand this. So where are we not seeing expand up here? We need to break it out. So see those top icons where it says image trace? Just hover your cursor over those icons just to see what the first one is. Yeah, this has changed. So yeah, see. Okay, go to the right of the preset 6 colors. There's a 3 like lines next to it. There's an eyeball underneath it. Click on that. Not the eyeball, the other line. Yeah, it's not letting you expand. Okay. You need to expand this in order for this to work. So go back up to object on your menu bar and go down to image trace and choose expand. There you go. When you expand it, now it creates your vectors that you need. So take your direct selection tool, so your white arrow, and click anywhere on the outside of that, in the white area, and hit delete on your keyboard. Nope. Anywhere on the white background part, click 1 time and then hit delete. Nope. Undo. Click anywhere on the outside with that direct selection tool. Did you click? Zoom out so we can see what you're doing here. I don't know. There we go. Take your selection tool, your black arrow, and just click off of it. Oh, I see what you're, oh, undo. Click over to your artboard where it's gray, and then take your white arrow, and then click on that white part only.
This part?
Yep. And hit delete. There you go. Now you have, that's a vector artwork that you can work with. Those are all individual shapes.
Okay.
That's how you do it.
Okay, now my question is to you, as if, because I have 4 pieces like this.
Mm-hmm.
If I am trying to create that logo that you saw,
you're going to bring the pieces in individually and do exactly what you just did if you don't want to trace them by your pen tool. And then arrange them accordingly.
But then how do I...
You can make that smaller by holding the shift key.
Okay.
In the bounding box.
So
You're rebuilding this in Illustrator. You have to make sure they're vector pieces and not raster.
Okay. But what about as far as, I just closed out InDesign. But is there a way to...
You can place in your file, just go file place, click off of there. File place your JPEG in there so you can use that as a design reference.
Okay. I was talking about InDesign because you know that it's going. Isn't it going to have the white artboard behind it?
Nope. All you have to do is save it as an InDesign Illustrator file, and then after that, export it out as a PNG file, and you shouldn't have that. So cancel that. I'll show you real quick. Let's save this out. Save it as an Illustrator. You know, save. Wait, nope. Don't close out. Cancel. Cancel. Go File, Save, and save this as the logo that you're going to start with. So whatever
Okay.
file name that you want.
Well, I'm actually gonna. I knew because, like I said, I'm okay. And then, whoa.
And then File, Export. Oh,
I'd saved it as logo. File export as.
and then see where it says ping. You just say
Yeah.
export it as that. And then right, as long as it says transparent, you're good to go. See where it says resolution?
Yeah.
Make it higher. Because that's 72. So make it 300. And then click OK. And then
Okay.
when you go into InDesign, you'll see doesn't have a white background. That's all you do.
Okay, so if I'm gonna do this, since I can do this and I can bring all the pieces in all at once and then put it together like I had it, what file do you recommend this as to do it instead of a 4x4? Like what document
I
setup?
think a 4x4 is fine. As long as it's big enough, it's not, I would say no smaller than 2x2. So 4x4 is fine.
Okay, I'm just gonna have to make everything, just resize everything once I'm done.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Okay.
Like I would make, at least, I would fill up that 4x4 with your logo bigger. As big as you can without hitting the edges. Because you're
Okay,
using
because
4x4.
because I'm going to show you. So now am I gonna now? I don't even remember how I. Okay, that's right. Because now I'm gonna have to come in and go to place because that's what I just did. So you know what? Since I have this. Okay, because see, this is the other one too. This is the
Yeah, that's like easy to trace.
yeah, that's. Are you serious? I don't have.
I think you just deleted that.
I just. There we go. Okay, because see, those are the eyes.
Yep. So you'll go to Object.
And do the same thing.
Yep.
So, what in it? But the face, that's my thing. I didn't want the horn to be smaller than the face because I am object
Image trace.
image trace.
Make. Or you can do make and expand. You go back up to Object. Object.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
If you want to if you want to change, you can also take deselect. So hit your artboard, select your artboard, then choose the white arrow, and then select the white. Just click on the white outside of the eyeball and then hit delete. Delete. Now you can move the eyes. And you can actually fix them if you want with your direct selection tool.
What do you mean by fixing them?
You know, if you want to pull out certain lines because you kind of lost some detail when you traced it.
Yeah, that's trying to actually kind of make them a little even, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I was trying to make them round as much round as possible. So not exactly sure if this is going to get rounded out like I want it without making it look too Oh. Uh, redo clear. I did that. Wait, there we go. Because of the fact that that one's kind of more at edge, more at a flat surface. But then, yeah. Or I could just, isn't there a way to, I know there's a way to do this, because if I just wanted to, could probably just do this. Where is it? Here it is. I don't know if this is the tool. I know this is what I'm looking for as far as the isn't there a way just to cut off the top and just have them like rounded?
Yeah, you can use the scissors tool,
Scissors tool.
but you
Scissors.
would have to add vectors to that. There is that's the slice tool. I mean, why don't you just create the eyeballs if it's going to be something that you're dealing with, like all this stuff? You know what I mean? Why don't you just do 2 ovals and recreate it? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just keep it simple, and
I get what you're saying. And then basically add a.
it's like a circle. But if you want to make it look like an oval, you'll have to do that.
Or do you think having perfectly round eyes is going to be a problem?
May look a little silly, but I don't know. Depends on the style that you want.
True. And I guess I could just. I hate when it does that. Oh, that looks better, believe it or not. There we go. And then what I could do is make, I don't know if that would make it. What am I doing? Why don't I just,
Copy and paste that one.
yep, exactly. And then, because like I said, I'm trying to make a face with it. So I'm not going to be using a whole lot of elements because I guess I was thinking about that with the eyeballs anyway earlier. But like with the, see, I don't know how to even, as far as this is even concerned, because these right here is supposed to be part of the flower, but I don't, but as you know, as the original page, I don't see why the,
I would just live trace it and then adjust it.
okay, so object, image trace, you mean?
Yeah, image trace. I think I said live trace. I don't know if that's what it was called before, and that's why I'm getting confused.
Okay, why did that not? What happened?
Can go up to object, image trace, choose make and expand. I don't know where it went. Is this the correct file that you're? Is this?
Yeah. This was the PDF file. I mean the Photoshop file.
Okay.
So
Let's go to image trace make. And then go up to your panel on the side where we can adjust the presets to the right.
Okay, so it's the right.
Oh, no. You want to find your image trace panel. I don't know where it is in there.
I'm looking. There it is.
Okay, so tracing results. Let's go to where it says preset default and change that to 3 colors. Or whatever. Go ahead. Okay,
There we
now
go.
go up to object
Object.
and then image trace and then expand. And then take your select off on your artboard and then select the white, just the white, anywhere. There we go, and hit delete. There you go.
There we go.
And then you just adjust the size.
Yeah, and okay, and it's actually going to blend in more because it's going to take off that extra too. So let me see, just one more. Because the eyes I don't have to worry about. This is so much simpler.
So I would just copy and paste that and flip it.
I am so glad I got your host.
And then go to your rotate tool in the toolbar.
Object, rotate.
You can go on your toolbar too. See your toolbar has a little like arrow rotating.
Oh yeah.
And hold that down and choose reflect tool.
Reflect.
And then double click on it, on the reflect tool.
Oh.
And then choose, you want to do like what, 180? What are we doing here?
Always best to preview.
I think it's 180 we want to do, but let's see.
What we could just do. Not do that.
I'm going to hit preview again. We want to flip it. Flip it horizontal, see what happens. There we go. We got it. Like, okay.
There we go. And then basically you just, and then.
Save that.
Huh?
Just in case. All right.
Oh, yeah, save. Yeah. Okay, and then. Now, this was where I was having the problem because I don't know if I should have a filler or not. And if I am, I don't know if I can, because if I have a filler, you know what, I'm going to group these together. Because I can honestly group these eyes together. But no, that just saved me a lot of time.
And now you did it correctly. It won't be rasterized.
Exactly. And, okay, I could have swore I grouped that. And the fact that technically I didn't really use the completely use the image. See, now that's my only thing is if I have a face, I want the ears to match, and I don't know if, and then I want that to be object, arrange, bring to forward. Or is it bring to front? I don't remember.
Yeah, but you're not going to be able to see it. It's the same color. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
They might not see it.
That's what I'm saying. Because isn't there a way I can change the colors of these ears now too? With the
where your color fill is?
Yeah, with the
Yep.
With the, I'm trying to find my. Here we go. There we go. And then I could use it for my board. Now, my question is since this is going to be the logo, what would you suggest on, because wasn't there supposed to be something on the back of it too?
So you have a postcard, the front and the back of the postcard.
And then and then I know that because there's 2 submissions, isn't there, for this?
And then you have to do a social media ad.
Which is the other thing I had a
And it's a
question.
different size and everything.
This is the free.
Uh-huh.
That's why I always do that, because it's from Max Pixel. So yeah. And that's why
it's free, but it's still raster based, so you'll have to recreate it anyway. But
right, but I don't try.
Yeah, copyright free, it's good.
Yeah, that's why I always use, ever since my associate's degree, I always use images that I always do the search that I showed you. Always.
Yeah, right.
This way I can't get in any trouble.
Yep.
Okay. Now that's what I was looking up. At least you know that at least that gives me comfort, at least.
Right.
And that. The ad. And then I got to get started on week 3. I can't believe the holiday screwed me up, man. I'm trying to bounce back. Week 2. That's right. No, yeah. That's the assessment. I'm wanting the assignment. And then okay. Target audience. And I watched your lecture earlier on this. I really did. And I can't believe that I forgot. Oh, that was my question. When you said CMYK and everything, what were you meaning? Because I know you said that the social media ad was supposed to be 504 pixels square, and it needed to. What were you referring to? Is that means that one of these?
Make sure all of your colors that you're like, if you're using imagery like photos, that you're changing that into the RGB mode before placing them into your InDesign multimedia ad or social media ad.
So does that mean I'm going to have
step by step how to do that? You know, you're going to open up in Photoshop, save it to RGB, place it back into your social media ad.
Okay, so I'm going to have to rewatch that lecture.
Yeah,
Okay.
I showed you, step by step on how to change the color mode and the resolution.
Exactly.
Yep. Postcard should be fine. You know, the only thing you'll need to adjust is any colors in your social media ad to RGB.
So the 504 pix is going to be Photoshop.
So you do that in InDesign, and I showed you in the lecture how to do that, to size it to 504 pix, like a square, 504 by 504. And really the only thing that you're going to worry about is the resolution and the color mode, and you're going to export it out
For web. For web?
Yep.
And then it's going to be, so part 1 is and I guess this is what I kind of got confused on. The part 1 is the postcards.
Right.
Is part 1. And then part 2 is
social media ad,
which is done in Illustrator.
in InDesign.
Okay, so both of them are done in InDesign.
Yep.
Gotcha.
I would like you to. It doesn't specify, but typically design.
No, I'll trust me, I will definitely put it in InDesign for week 2. And I am going to try to get this done.
Okay.
Tonight. I also, because the other thing is my class for week 1, I also got like 3 papers I have to write too. So I know, like I said, the holidays kind of screwed me up, because this week 1 paper was really, you're not recording, are you?
I am still.
Oh, well, then I can't say what I can say. Because I know some people might get offended. Anyways. this has really been kicking me hard, if you will, because of the fact that the holiday was there. And basically, I was trying to get in during the holiday, and nobody was in for DE350 nor for the other class. And this writing,
It pushed you back.
yeah, it pushed me back because week one's paper wasn't even on site. And since we're in week three, I have to write 3 papers that are 755 words each, on top of doing 3 presentations for each paper.
Wow. That's a lot of work.
And yeah, and week 3 is due before Saturday. So trying to like do week 2 and week 3, but I can't even do weeks 2 and 3 papers until I for this class until I do week 1 paper.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm literally, your class is a lot simpler because it's designing, and designing is nothing but a thing when it comes to me because I, as you can tell, just point me in the right direction and I can figure out what I need to do. But papers, because 1, I'm dyslexic. 2, I'm not at a college I'm not even joking. I'm not at a college level writing at all.
Okay.
So my
it takes you you need more supplemental resources and help to get
exactly. And I found it to be harsh by one instructor last mod when my computer decided to go out, because he read one of my papers and he's like, your writing's not at a college level like it's supposed to be. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, yeah, I didn't have the proper education. And it really it affected me, but it didn't affect me because I already knew it wasn't at a college level. But he was like the first one to ever call me out on it, if you will. So it was like.
So I guess just kind of getting that extra help and just taking the extra time is what's needed. And that's why we have those resources out there. And you said about the holiday and understand, that pushing you back. So I can understand how you can.
And I am, there's somebody that's going to able to help me with the man writing class. And it's really helpful that you're not going to be able to hear me for a minute, but I wanted to show you something.
Okay.
Seriously? Yeah. It helps that I have that microphone so I can speak my papers.
Oh, okay.
And that's how I'm able, and with me speaking my papers, I've already got my 400, I'm already at 400 and something words.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, once they pointed me in the right direction and I knew what I was supposed to do, I literally am going to wipe these papers out with nothing. So I'm hoping that, because I managed to get her discussion post in tonight earlier, but I still got to work on yours. Like I said, between the trying to figure out Excel because it was not wanting to work earlier, watching your lecture, because I still haven't watched your the second lecture for week 2 for the Excel, because I'm trying to focus on the most points. Because granted those are 50 points, but I'm trying to look at the 120 points, the ones that can that can make or break my grade.
Right. Yeah, and that's the right way to do it.
That's what I'm trying to focus on right now. So, like I said, just bear with me, if you will.
Yeah.
Because I've had you like more times than I can count. Associate's degree, part of my bachelor. So I know if I feel comfortable now after working, I can like open up and tell you, hey, look, these are my weaknesses.
Right.
And just kind of bear with me because I know the class ends next week. Now, I do have a question, and I'm hoping that you're the next set of classes are going to take place for, like, we're only going to have 2 weeks of classes.
Right.
What's going on with Christmas break?
Yeah, so you guys should be getting a notice about this. We just got an email actually as instructors that we're going to have it'll be 1 week. So the next mod will be for the first 2 weeks, like you said, and then we're going to go on break.
Okay, so it's going to be it'll be the first week of classes,
So
because
mod 13 will begin on Monday, December 10th, with 2 weeks of coursework before the break.
so it'll be the 10th through the 21st.
So attendance will not be taken from December 22nd to January 6th.
Okay. So basically from the 10th, because I got my calendar, as you can see, from the 10th to the 24th is when we're in school.
So from week 1 will be 12:10 to 12:15. Week 2 will be 12:16 to 12:21. And then
So there is no daily checkpoints on that Saturday on the 22nd for whatever class?
Yeah, I don't think you do, because winter break starts 12:22 and then ends on 1/6.
Which is a Sunday. Okay, so classes won't pick up until the 7th.
Right.
That works.
So week 3 will start on the 7th, go to the 12th, and
Yeah.
then week 4 will be 13th to the 19th.
Yeah, because I got to figure out, because of my 2 classes I failed last month, I'm wondering when they're going to have me retake those.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we just got that
Yeah, because
today, actually, so.
Okay, cool. Okay. Well, like I said, I know it was on recording, and that's fine. With me telling you that, I don't, people.
No, that's fine. I mean, I think, what you said was fine. You're being honest, and I think everybody can really relate to what you're saying, because, everybody's has their struggles and their issues, and especially life gets in the way and things happen. So, everybody learns from everybody. So I understand. And that's kind of, I've been a student online. I understand. And I have issues too, life issues going on sometimes in my life that kind of push me back, as an instructor and as a designer in my work world. So I understand that. Just as long as you're communicating that to me and being open and not coming to me from, if I'm not hearing from you, week 1, and then all of a sudden I hear from you week 4, that's when I'm like, okay, well, why didn't you reach out to me,
Exactly. And I know when I've, like I said, I've worked with you through my associate's degree and part of my bachelor's degree. So
yeah.
I think you're like I literally think that you're the only instructor I had consistently with that I got to really get to know as a person, really.
Aw. Well, that's cool.
Because everybody else, it's getting to know new people, and I'm like, man,
it's always a new instructor, and sometimes I do have repeat people come in. It's great to work with
and like I said, especially I think my very first class with you, I think, was one of my early DES classes, when I was first starting out.
Because I've been teaching for IU for 6 years now, so.
And I've been attending IU since 20. I got to look at my associate's degree when I graduated. No, I graduated with my associate's degree earlier this year, and I've been doing my bachelor's program, because if I didn't fail those 2 courses, I would have graduated with my bachelor's degree shortly before I was 28 or shortly after I was 28.
Okay.
So me failing those classes, it's going to be sometime in November.
Okay. Of next year.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that'll come quick.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And, age is just a number. We have all kinds of ages people in here, and I went back 10 years after I got my bachelor's for my master's. So.
Yeah. See, I'm not sure if I'm going to get my master's through IU yet or not, because of the fact that if I'm barely keeping up with my bachelor's. Granted, they only give you 1 or 2 classes at a time, But I'm afraid, and this is me personally, and this is why I'm not deciding where I'm going to get my master's degree yet. Because I'm afraid I might not be able to keep up with the work at all.
Yeah, well, you gotta make that personal decision for you, and sometimes you might need some experience before you go forward, and that's what I did. You know, I got my bachelor's, and I had 10 years of experience in between. I went back and got my master's.
Right.
So sometimes it's just how your path goes, and when you're ready, you're ready. If not, you don't.
Well,
You know?
I'm hoping that because I do live in a remote area, I'm hoping that after getting my bachelor's degree, and I don't have much of a work history due to personal past issues. The last job I had was when I was 16.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that with me kind of having a high school diploma, having an associate's degree in science of graphic arts, having a bachelor's degree in science and graphic arts, and once I put that on my resume and upload that on Indeed or something, somebody will reach out and be like, wow, he doesn't have much of a work history, but he definitely has the know-how to get the job done. So
Yeah, and
I'm
in my
hoping the know-how will outweigh the work history.
in my experience too, you have to hustle even as I mean, the thing that you have going against you as a new designer coming out of school is one, you don't have the experience, and two, you don't have the experience, right?
Right.
So it's like you can't show actual work experience out. You know, it's kind of like you're just showing examples that you did in school, but the way that you present yourself, you want to make sure you're presenting as if these are real clients that you did. And if
Right.
they ask you, hey, is this for class? Then yeah, I did this for class. These are fictional people. They don't even need to know that. The way that you present yourself confidently as if it's actual real client is how you get the job. They want to
Exactly.
see the confidence in you. But you have to hustle. It's not like you can't just put your resume on there and just
Oh, no.
cross your fingers too. You know what I mean? You
No.
have to like work at it.
Well, it's kind of hard, and that's the other see, and this is what I hate about my setbacks, and only I can fix it. When I told you that my income is literally $750, that's literally my income, and that's even with me living with my mom, I'm like still broke. I'm still broke like every month, if you will. So I don't have a car. I have my license and I have my mom's car, but my mom's car is a 2008 and she doesn't want me to be like driving to Houston or too far of a distance with her car.
Mm.
So until I get my own car, it's like really, it's even going to be tougher on me to even try to even apply for a job. So,
Well, I mean, there's also Uber. You know, you can if you kind of save your money, you can kind of start that way until you can get to that
yeah,
point.
there was something about people making fun of Uber because it was something about don't get in cars with strangers, and this was on Facebook, and don't take rides from strangers. But in 2018, there's Uber. So yeah, it was about things that you don't talk to strangers online. You don't get in cars with strangers, but in 2018, it's okay to ask a complete stranger online for a ride.
Well, I guess a good thing is like Uber hires people and does the screening.
Yeah,
Of course, there's going to be
yeah.
instances where you have the weird people, but hopefully they have some type of liability on their end.
Right.
But I mean, it's an option, and it just kind of pushes you even further to like wanting to have that motivation to get.
Oh, and I do have that motivation. That motivation I do have.
Yeah, so that's good. Yep, so that's good. Well, keep it up. Just get your stuff done, and let me know if you have any questions.
I'll definitely keep you posted because if I feel like I'm too far behind by Saturday, I'll definitely let you know no later than Friday because I got a bunch of running around to do Friday because that's when I do get my money. Oh, snap. I'm hoping that I can still call them tomorrow. I think I needed to give them a 72-hour notice, and I don't think I gave them that So I'm hoping that I can call them tomorrow and let them know, hey, I need to make my payment for Friday for the school.
Oh, I'm sure they can work.
Yeah, for the loan. Because I don't know if it's 72 hours or 24 hours.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So, all right. I'll let you go because I actually got to get back into the Student Success Center to finish up this paper. So,
All right, Thomas. Well, you have a great night and good luck with everything.
thank you.
All right. Good night.
Good night.